Shit. Okay, I'm live on YouTube and I'm live on Instagram. What's up? What's up? What's up? Nobody's nobody entered yet, but I hope somebody will very soon. Uh, I haven't eaten. I haven't eaten in. I haven't eaten in 40 something hours. I'm pretty hungry and I lost like probably 5 kilos. I couldn't get out of bed today, so that was pretty. Yeah, man. I'm hungry, but I'm accepting. I accepted my own. I accepted this suffering as my own. So it's more of a challenge to me than it is like just suffering all the time. I'm gonna eat today, but like around 7, 8 p.m. because then the 48 hours will, I'll be fasting for 2 days. So I think that's enough. I didn't fast for more than one day, more than 6 months. So, anyways, yeah, it's quite interesting, to not eat. You lost some weight already. Yeah, man, I did. I did lost probably, maybe 5 kilos, but most likely 2, 3 kilos for sure. Um, you know, I feel, lightheaded. I already made a video about this, and I feel lightheaded. I feel hungry. It is one of the basic human, you know, things. It is one of the basic things that a human needs. So, it's normal for Global to send a request to be, fuck it. Uh, you can enter, man. We're waiting for you. You declined, you fucking bitch. Okay. Somebody wanted to enter on. My friend wanted to enter on live. So, but anyways, it seems that he's a pussy. So, no, I'm joking. I'm joking, man. But anyways, this fast changed me a bit, especially because I was reading this book yesterday. And I really understood, the importance of living, the importance of like meaning of life, like basically man's search for meaning. I realized, actually, let me show you here. I realized, I think, what life is and why it's important. Like I think I realized my own meaning of life, and it's really fucking deep. I think it's quite based, I think, but I'm not gonna talk about it on this live, because as I said, I do feel a bit lightheaded. So I don't think I I'm gonna be able to think properly. So I'm gonna be talking about this maybe after this book, maybe after I read this book. Maybe I'm gonna talk about this book. I most certainly won't read everything from this book. I'll just read the most important things. You see, I know to hear the most important things, so I'll just read those things. But anyways, let's continue with this book for today. And the lesson today is, you can't win an argument. Okay, you can't win an argument. Okay, so Dale, the author of this book, How to Be Friends and Influence People, there, Dale Carnegie. He so he in this chapter he was talking about how one guy was wrong about something. Why not? As I said, I won't talk about this book because I don't feel like I'm able to talk a bit about deep shit right now, because I do feel lightheaded. So I don't think I'll be able to talk about it. But anyways, Dale here was talking with one guy, and Dale knew he was wrong. Dale knew he was wrong, and like that guy knew what? No, okay. Anyways, Dale knew. I asked you why you can't win an argument. Oh, okay, my bad. I'm gonna show you now. So I'm gonna talk about it. So, anyways, let's continue. Uh, so Dale was talking with one guy, and Dale knew that that guy was wrong because he said a quote from somebody. Yo, what's up, Laura? Laura. Anyways, he knew that that guy was wrong, so he said he was wrong, and I knew that. Like the author knew that. I knew it positively. There couldn't be the slightest doubt about it. And so, to get a feeling of importance and display my superiority, I appointed myself as an unsolicited and unwelcome committee of one to correct him, and he stuck out his guns. Okay, so basically, the guy was trying to defend himself because Dale started to like correct the guy. Like he said, no, no, like that quote is from Shakespeare. The quote is not from that other guy that you think it is. But because Dale immediately started to attack that guy, I mean, not like punch him or whatever, but in a debate, he started a debate with him. The other guy was in defensive mode, and that's why you cannot win an argument. Because if I actually, I'm gonna read more things and then I'm gonna connect with what I'm talking about. But we are guests at the festival. Why prove? Okay, so uh, they were guests at a festival occasion, and why prove to a man that he is wrong? Is that going to make him like you? Okay, I not only had made the storyteller uncomfortable, but had put my friend in an embarrassing situation. How much better it would be if I had not become argumentative. There is only one way under high heavens to get the best out of an argument, and that is to avoid it. 9 times out of 10, an argument ends up with each of the contestants more firmly convinced that even that he is absolutely right. Okay, I fucking read that wrong. My bad. I'm gonna read it again. 9 times out of 10, an argument ends with each of the contestants more firmly convinced than ever that he is absolutely right. You cannot win an argument. You cannot, because if you lose it, you lose it. And if you win it, you lose it. Why? Well, suppose you triumph over the other man and shoot his argument full of holes and prove that he is non compos mentis. Then what? You will feel fine. But what about him? You have made him feel inferior. You have hurt his pride. He will resent your triumph. And a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So basically, what the author is talking here is instead of arguing with the person and saying, no, you're wrong, this is wrong, and I'm right, Well, I think there still must be a way. Yeah, yeah, of course, there is a way to convince people, and this book is all about it. So, of course, there's a way to convince people, just not this way. I mean, I know a lot of people. Like one of my very good friends is like this. He always, instead of trying to get to his point in a better way, he always says, "No, you're wrong. Like you're completely wrong, and I'm right." For example, or some shit like that. I mean, I don't have such a huge ego. I think, I mean, I may be wrong, but it's still. I mean, it doesn't hurt me, but it's still like I feel inferior points. A lot of good points. Okay, he's speechless. Then there is no room for argument. If he says, okay, so basically the author here says, if wait, hold up. I mean, yeah. Okay, that nigga crazy, bro. Okay, he's speechless then. There's no room for an argument. If he says the whistle is best and I say sure it is, he has to stop. So basically, if my friend says no, this tree is green, then I say yeah, of course, yeah, okay, it is green. It's the best. Okay, it's the best when you agree with somebody. So, anyways, first find the things that you can agree on instead of condemning and criticizing somebody. which was the first lesson that we were talking about. The more I argued against it, the more my prospect argued in favor of it. And the more he argued, he more the more he sold himself to my competitor's product. Ben Franklin said this. If you argue fuck my English, man. Ben Franklin said this. If you argue to rankle and contradict, you may achieve a victory sometimes, but it will be an empty victory because you will never get your opponent's goodwill. So figure it out for yourself. Which would you rather have? An academic theoretical victory or a person's goodwill? You can seldom have both. Okay. You may be right, dead right, as you speed along in your argument. But as far as changing another mind is concerned, you will probably be just as futile as if you were wrong. So don't try to convince people. Don't try to convince other people that they are wrong. Like, don't just try not to do that. I mean, of course, I will make that a mistake again. You will make that mistake again. But, we can always try. One of the most common of human fertilities. He wanted a feeling of importance, and as long as that guy argued with him, he got his feeling of importance by loudly asserting his authority. So there were two people arguing, and that person who was yelling had a feeling of importance because he asserted his authority. But as soon as his importance was admitted and the argument stopped, and he was permitted to expand his ego. So basically, the other person, so the person that was yelled at, just a second, I'm gonna read the thing that you said on YouTube, but just a second. So, for example, when a boss yells at the employee, if the employee says, "Yeah, you are right," even though he knows that maybe he probably isn't right in every aspect, then your boss will probably stop, yelling at you, because, as it says here, he was permitted to expand his ego. He became a sympathetic and kindly human being. So by you realizing that he's yelling at you because he wants to feel important and because he just wants to how to say it? He just wants to show his dominance over you. If you accept that, then he will move on to other things as becoming sympathetic and kind. And Buddha said this: hatred is never ended by hatred, but by love. And a misunderstanding is never ended by argument, but by diplomacy, my bad, conciliation, and sympathetic desire to see the other person's viewpoint. Okay, I'm just gonna read what Rocco said on YouTube. What if a person you are debating is actually a totally uneducated, ignorant person, and you know for a fact that you're 100% right? Okay, so I hope we're not talking about me, but okay, so anyways, so I actually say something like, "You're wrong and I'm right, and I'm gonna prove that you are wrong." Okay, but like anyways, okay, so I'm gonna read this again because my bad. I'm gonna read this again because I have to comprehend this because I don't want to give false information. So a guy on YouTube asks, "What if a person you are debating is actually a total uneducated, ignorant person, and you know for a fact that you're 100% right?" Okay, so the first step is not to complain and not to condemn him. So don't be like, "You're wrong," and I'm like 100% right, because that's what Dale did here. Dale knew that the quote that the host said was wrong, and he tried to correct him. But instead of correcting him, you should do something else, which I will talk about a bit later. But it's basically, just a second, because like when you argue with somebody, you most likely will not win that debate, because when you argue with somebody, that means that you're attacking his pride, his ego, his stance, and then he will become defensive. So you will have to approach it more in a more diplomatic way, such as, like for example, in your case, if you know that the person is wrong, instead of just saying you're wrong and I'm prove that I'm right, like you should be like, so listen, I may be wrong and you may be right, but I do think that this is how it is. That's like 100% better than just saying you're wrong and I know that I'm right and I'm gonna prove to you that I'm right, or even just saying you're wrong because So there are multiple ways of approaching such situations. Mm, okay, so Lincoln said this: "No man who is resolved to make the most out of himself can spare time for personal contention. Still less can be afford to take the consequences, including the violation of his temper and the loss of self-control. Yield larger things to which you show no more than equal rights, and yield lesser one thought clearly your own. Better give your path to a dog than be bitten by him in contesting for the right. Even killing the dog would not cure the bite." So give your opponent. So these are things that you should consider when debating a person. Welcome the disagreement. Remember the slogan: when two partners always agree, one of them is not necessary. There is some point you haven't thought about, be thankful if it is brought to your attention. Perhaps this disagreement is your opportunity to be corrected before you make a serious mistake, because you're not always right. And even though you think you're right, even though you think you're 100% right, there is still possibility that you are not. So enter the conversation with a chance that you're wrong. So that's why I say that you should always, maybe not start the conversation, maybe not start the debate, but you should always. What the fuck? What if my live ended on YouTube? I mean on Instagram. Okay. Anyways, my live ended on Instagram for some reason. But anyways, you should always say this in an argument: I may be wrong. Like you have to admit to the other person that you may be wrong. And why is this so important? Because then you're giving then you're not trying to convince that person, but you're just trying to say what you think, even though you may be wrong. So this means that you're open-minded and then you're willing to change, which won't attack the other person's point of view. So welcome the disagreement. Okay, distrust your first instinctive impression. Our first natural reaction in a disagreeable situation is to be defensive. Be careful, keep calm, and watch out for your first reaction. It may be at your worst, not your best. Calm, control your temper. This is for my friend who's watching right now. I don't want to offend you, but you have to control your temper. Remember, you can measure the size of a person by what makes him or her angry. And yeah, listen first. Give your opponent a chance to talk. Let them finish. Do not resist, defend, or debate. So do not laugh at them. Don't attack them. Don't make like when they talk, like don't jump in. Just let them finish first. This only raises barriers if you don't listen. Try to build bridges of understanding. Don't build higher barrier. This is what one of the philosophers said. So first, establish what you agree on. Okay. So for example, if we talked about, I don't know, uh, if this one quote was from this guy, then you actually, I don't know a good, I don't really know a good example. My bad. But anyways, I hope you get the point. First, try to understand what the other person is saying and try to, you know, agree on some points you do agree on. Be honest. Look for areas where you can admit errors and say so. Apologize for your mistakes. So don't be egotistical. Don't be defensive. If you realize that you're wrong in the middle of an argument, then be honest and apologize for it. It will help disarm your opponent and reduce defensiveness. Promise to think over your opponent's ideas and study them carefully and mean it. Your opponent may be right in a position where when your opponents can say, "We tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen." Thank your opponent sincerely for their interest. Anyone who takes the time to disagree with you is interested in the same things you are. Think of them as people who really want to help you, and you may turn your opponent into friends. Postpone action to give both sides to think through the problem. Suggest that a new meeting be held later that day or the next day when all the facts may be brought to bear. In preparation for that new meeting be held later that day or the next day when all the facts may be brought to bear. In preparation for this meeting, ask yourself some hard questions. Could my opponent be right? Partly right. Is there truth or merit in the opponent in their position or argument? Is my reaction one that will relieve the problem or will it just relieve my frustration? Will my reaction drive my opponents further away or draw them closer to me? Will my reaction elevate the estimation? My bad. Will my reaction elevate the estimation? What? Okay, my bad. Will my reaction elevate the estimation good people have of me? Okay, I don't know what that means. Will I win or lose? What price will I have to pay if I win? If I'm quiet about it, will the disagreement blow me? Is the difficult situation an opportunity for me? What if I'm not wrong and the opponent is actually wrong? Okay, so so like, let's say that you and I are talking about looks, for example, which happened. We did talk about it. And when I said that, for example, looks aren't the only thing that matter, you would laugh at me. And that would just ease, as it says, that would just ease your frustration. That's not helping me. That's not helping you. I mean, it is helping you by just relieving your frustration. But when the discussion is at hand, it's not helping anybody because I just feel attacked. I feel like you're not list thoughts, which in the end of the day, we agreed on, which which is the most fucked up thing like that I can think about in an argument because oftentimes than not, uh, like when I argued with my friends or people in general, we actually agreed on most of the things, but we thought we didn't, and then we just attacked each other, you know. So what if you're not wrong? Well, how can you be certain that you're not wrong? If you're not wrong, instead of fucking destroying them with facts, like why not say, even though you know you're 100% right. Like for example, like even though you know that you have 10 fingers, even though you know you have 10 fingers, say this: I may be wrong, but I think all people have 10 fingers. Like, don't you think this? Why do you think differently? You have to ask your opponent instead of saying to him, we all have 10 fingers. Like you're like can you understand this? We all have 10 fingers, and this is the truth. This is reality. Instead of saying that, why not say, I may be wrong, but as 10 fingers. I know this is a stupid, example. This is just an example because a person can have facts on their side. Of course, a person can have facts on their side, but you have to realize that condemning somebody and talking bad about them and to destroy them with facts, like Ben Shapiro, for example, won't really help the other person. It may help you, it may make you feel better, but the other person will hate you. The other person will condemn you. Um, so yeah, okay, okay. When one yells, the other person. Okay, so uh, this part is about a wife and a man arguing. So this is what the guy said. When one yells, the other should listen. Because when two people yell, there is no communication, just noise and bad vibration. So the principle of this live, of this video, is the only way to get the best out of an argument is to avoid it. And tomorrow's wait, just a second. I want to see if this is a long one. If not, I can do it today. Okay, this is a long one. But tomorrow's, so this is my point. This is my point. Never, 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 never condemn the other person and tell him that he is wrong. When you do this, it's over. Like, it's over for you. It's literally over for the argument. It's over for your point. Like, when you say to a person you're wrong, it's like it's literally over. Like, I mean, like, I'm just saying a meme, but it's just over for you, bro. It's over for the argument. If you say that the other person is wrong, it's over. I cannot emphasize this enough, because I made these mistakes, and I know a lot of people made these mistakes when they were arguing with me, when they said you are wrong. Of course, I'm not gonna fucking listen to you. I mean, I will listen to you, because I do try, and like, you just hurt me in some way. So yeah, man. Just a second. Let me just put this shit here. Okay. So, uh, I mean, about saying I may be wrong, but of course sometimes it does. Definitely not every time. But still, it does have help. It's much better than say you're wrong. I may be wrong. I may be wrong, because you have to consider that other people, most people on this planet Earth, especially if you're talking with your boss, or somebody higher up, you always have to start with I mean, like, not blaming yourself, but just giving an opportunity to be wrong. You have to give yourself the opportunity to be wrong, because even though you're 100% right, maybe you're not. That's how I think. Even though the Earth may be round, and 99% of the people think that way, it probably is, but maybe it's not. Maybe the Earth is not round. Maybe I'm not a human being. I am. I know I am, but maybe I'm not. So there, I mean, I that way I always live in a sort of uncertainty. But no, man, that's not lying. For example, if you know for a fact that you have 10 fingers, like I said, and you know that you're 100% right. Like, I have 10 fingers. Instead of saying you're wrong, like, for example, if I said, "Yo, man, you have 3 fingers," and you said, "No, you're wrong. I have 10 fingers." Uh, that guy will not listen to you. Again, this is a stupid example, but I hope you get my point. He won't listen to you, because you have to approach him in a non-attacking way. You have to be like, "I may be wrong, but like, can you please tell me why you think I have 3 fingers? Why you think I have 3 fingers instead of 10? Because as far as I can see, I have 10 fingers. But I would like to hear your point of view." Of course, this is a dumb example. Of course, sometimes it does. If okay, but why would one say I may be wrong, but when they actually know that they're not wrong? Because it's not for yourself, it's for the other person. You say I may be wrong, but you say this to help the other person ease into the conversation. Because if you start with you are wrong, it's fucking over for the conversation. It's literally over. I mean, people will listen to you, but they will not listen to you. Like they will just try to this shit. But I'm 100% sure that this is 100% better way than to say that you are wrong. That's why I'm so sure of these arguments. Actually, Socrates said this one thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. I have quit telling people they're wrong. If a person makes a statement that you think is wrong, yes, even that you so this will help you. This was supposed to be for tomorrow, but I'm just gonna read something which will help you with what you're having trouble with understanding. Socrates said, "One thing I know, one thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. Be wiser than the other person if you can, but do not tell them so. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him to find it with himself." This is what Galileo said. So I have quit telling people they are wrong. This is what Socrates said. Okay, and Socrates was a fucking smart philosopher. If a person makes a statement that you may think is wrong, yes, even that you know is wrong. So listen to this. Even though you know is wrong, isn't it better to begin by saying, well, look, I know otherwise, but I may be wrong, and I frequently am. And if I am wrong, I want to be put right. Let's examine the facts. I'm gonna read this again because this guy, Rocco, I really appreciate you being active on the live. So I'm just gonna read this again because this is what Socrates said, not me. This is what Socrates said, one of the smartest, most likely smartest philosophers alive. I mean, was alive. Anyways, if a person makes a statement that you think is wrong and that you know that is wrong, so you know that you're 100% right, as though you said in the live, isn't it better to begin by saying, well, now look, I thought otherwise, but I may be wrong, and I frequently am. If I am wrong, I want to be put right. Let's examine the facts. There's a positive magic in such phrases as I may be wrong, I frequently am. Let's examine the facts. And then you can put your facts out. So instead of just saying you are wrong and putting your facts out there, why not use this approach, which is a much better way? Saying I may be wrong, but can sound like you're insincere about your arguments and as if you're letting yourself lose an argument. That's just your ego, you know. That's maybe just your ego thinking that way, because it's not losing an argument. You're just letting yourself be in a position that you may be wrong. But this is what Socrates said. Look, I thought not 100% right all the time, and if I am wrong, I want to be put right. Let's examine the facts. Insecure. Shit. Should one just leave the conversation when the opponent is stubborn? Wait. I'm gonna read the previous thing because this happened actually yesterday on live. I mixed the word insecure and insincere. Wait, where did you say that? Where did you say that? What did you say that? I may be wrong. No, it's wrong. Saying I may be wrong, but can sound like you're insecure. Okay. So this changes. Saying I may be wrong, but can sound like you're insecure about your arguments, as if you are letting yourself lose an argument. No. I don't think that is how it is. You know, because then you're actually being open-minded and you're letting the other person realize that they can change your mind and that you're open to change your mind. Well, you're not obliged to convince somebody else, you know. If the other person really doesn't want to hear you out and the other person is stubborn and like even though you say, for example, I mean, like, even though you say this, I may be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I want to be corrected. But I think otherwise. I think differently than you. So let's examine the facts. And if he's stubborn, and if he like, I mean, like, you are not obliged to fucking stay there. But if you use this, you're gonna have such a better. You're gonna have such a better percent of winning the argument, winning the other person. In the end of the think about it, if you like if okay, I have to chill out. Okay, so if you say you're wrong, I'm right, and I'm gonna prove you, that just heightens your ego. And ego, okay. So this is important argument because you're trying to be a lawyer. You can't just win the argument, but you must convince people that you're right. That is true. I'm not a lawyer. That is true. I'm not a lawyer. Fix the camera. Okay. Okay. I think it's better now. Okay. Wait. My bad. Okay. So I'm not a lawyer, and I never was in a courtroom. And yeah, I mean, in court, you cannot really say I may be wrong. I mean, you can. Yeah, I mean, like, I get, like, I get your point, Rocco. This is probably more for, for one-to-one conversations with your friend, with your family, with your boss, with your employees. Maybe something outside the courtroom, because in the courtroom, lives depend on your arguments and discussion. So maybe saying I may be wrong, it's good, because your opponent will say, well, if you think you're wrong, then you're most likely, I mean, like, like the person who is against you may attack you and shit like that. So I'm not very I'm not very well versed in discussions in a courtroom, because discussions in a courtroom is a big thing, and I don't want to say something like like, I don't want to say something and put that in your head, because I may be wrong, and I truly may be wrong. So I don't want to say something to you that may destroy your future career. But then again, Socrates, as far as I know, actually I don't know, but I think Socrates. Actually, wait, I'm gonna look it up. I think Socrates, politician, but I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure. Okay, so Socrates was a classical Greek philosopher. Okay, and I knew that. Founder of the Western philosopher. Okay, was he a politician though? As Was he a politician as, for example, Cicero? Socrates was a philosopher. Sorry, guys, let me just see this. Saying I may be wrong, but it's more like for a one. Yeah. It is. It is for a one-on-one conversation, or for example, as I used it here right now, I'm talking to an audience. Even though at the moment there's like two people watching me, in the future, because this live will be uploaded on my YouTube channel, more people will be watching me. So by me saying I may be wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong, I'm willing to be wrong. So I want to tell you what you should act in a courtroom. It's much better than me saying, okay, so you are wrong, and you should just listen to me and use this in a courtroom. I mean, like, can you see the difference? Like, because I can use facts against you. I can say, like Socrates said this, which means it must be 100% right, and you're wrong if you think this is right. I mean, like, I don't think this way, of course, but if I was another person, this could hurt your reputation in the future. So you will never get into trouble by admitting that you may be wrong. That will stop all argument and inspire your opponent to be just as fair and open and broad-minded as you are. it will make him want to admit that he too may be wrong. Okay, so I'm getting into tomorrow's lesson, but you tell them that you're wrong, do you make them want to agree with you? Never. So if you tell them they're wrong, do you make them want to agree with you? No, you do not. For you have struck a direct blow at their intelligence, judgment, pride, and make them want to strike you back. Okay, never begin by saying, okay, please listen to me, Rocco. Never begin by announcing, and to, of course, and to all the people that are watching this after live. Never begin by announcing, I'm going to prove so and so to you that it is bad. That is, I mean, I'm so never begin by saying, I'm going to prove you that so and so is wrong. You know that you're wrong. That's a very bad point. It arouses opposition and makes the listener want to battle you before you even start. If you're going to prove anything, don't let anybody know it. Okay, so this is important for you, Rocco, because as far as I know, you're gonna be a lawyer. So this is important. If you're going to prove anything, don't let anybody know it. Do it subtly. Important. If you're going to prove anything, don't let anybody know it. Do it subtly, so angrily that no one will feel that you are doing it. Men, so Alexander Pope said, men must be taught that if you're taught as if you taught them not, and things unknown proposed as things forgotten. Okay, I don't know what the fuck he meant. But Galileo said, you cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him to find it with himself. Lord Chesterfield said, be wiser than the other person if you can, but do not tell him so. And Socrates said, yeah, that's probably not the best way to approach. Anyways, I'm gonna end this live stream. I decided that I'm gonna talk about this chapter tomorrow, and we're more than halfway done with the book, which is great. And after the book, I'm gonna talk about this book. I'm not gonna read the whole book, of course. I'm just gonna read the best parts, meaning of life, like and like what life is. Why am I alive? Why shouldn't I kill myself? Guys, I'm not suicidal, of course, but I was just thinking that way, like why am I alive? Like why is anybody alive? Why should I be alive? Why should I not just end my life right now? And like I didn't think this is in the best way. I thought this as a legitimate way, like literally, like what is my calling? Like what is my purpose of being alive? Like why should I be alive? Why shouldn't I just end my life right now? And I thought about it a lot, and I think I came to a conclusion, but that is a topic about later. Like that is a topic for another video, because that is a very deep topic, and I think I came to a conclusion, and it's a positive conclusion, of course. And I think I know a way to help people now with depression and anxiety and suffering, because this man was literally in Auschwitz. He had almost no food, had frostbite, which means that he didn't. This man was literally in Auschwitz. He had almost no food. He had frostbite, which means that he didn't feel anything, like his fingers, his toes. He didn't wear shoes. He literally went outside to mine, to dig, like starving, like their bodies ate themselves, And he found the meaning of life. He found meaning in suffering. He found meaning in existing. He found meaning in life. And one thing, I'm just gonna say this one thing that I realized is that we shouldn't expect something from life. because life is expecting something from us. So again, we aren't supposed to to think of life as something. We aren't supposed to think that we should be millionaires. We aren't supposed to think that we deserve something. But life thinks of us, like life demands of us something. So it's basically the opposite of how most people think. Most people want something out of life, but they do not realize that life wants something out of us. It's quite complicated, and I don't myself realize, and I myself don't realize it 100%. But when I literally spent like half an hour later, yesterday, just sitting and just like thinking about words, which means I cannot end my life, which means I cannot kill myself, which means I cannot end my life, which means I must accept my suffering, I must accept whatever comes to my life, whoever dies in my life, whatever I lost. If tomorrow, if today, if in a minute I lose my sight, then that means that there is meaning behind it. There is meaning why I lost my eyes. Maybe why I lost my sight is to help other blind people to realize that it's not over. You know, there is like life is so beautiful, even in this condemned world that we live in. People do not realize that there is beauty in suffering. But anyways, I'm gonna talk about it in another live stream, because first I want to talk about this with my friends. I want to share my thoughts about this with my friends, and I want to establish this because it's very important. It's basically a thought between life and death. So, and I'm really grateful to God and to everybody around me and to my circumstances and to my environment, even though I suffered a lot mentally. I'm really grateful that I came to this point. I'm just 20. I'm very grateful that I came to this point, that I part of life that brought me to these parts and all the bad parts, because there are no good parts and bad parts. Life just is. Life is not good, life is not bad, life just is. Our perception makes it so. Our perception makes life good or bad. Okay? So that's also important. So anyways, I'm gonna talk more about this in another live stream. But I hope this live stream helps somebody. If it didn't help anybody, it helped me to establish my points. But I really hope it helped anybody. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, stay healthy. You know, read books, exercise, and yeah. Especially now, in the time we are. Okay, I'm feeling really deep. So I'm just gonna take a moment. I don't have a lot of energy today because I'm fasting. So, anyways, what I wanted to say is, what the fuck do I want to say? Yeah, in times we are now, in this lockdown, this situation is neither good or bad. It just is. This situation is the present moment. And instead of condemning it, instead of criticizing, instead of thinking how we would like to be outside all the time, how we would like to go to a cafe, to a restaurant, which is not bad. Of course, it's not bad to think this way. I also think of going outside and riding my bike or something, or going for a drink with my boys. We have to accept the fact that this present moment is, it just is. There is no future or past. I'll probably have to do a live stream with somebody, with my friend or somebody, because a conversation with two people about heavy topics like these will manifest. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. What you think about these live streams so far. Thank you all for watching. Have a